So my name is Sonia, and in this video I just want to share a bit of my story in hopes that it could help someone, or maybe someone can at least relate. So suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideations is what I've struggled with most of my life. I can't even remember when it started, it was just always there. And I remember just always feeling like life is too much. Like just going through the motions of the day is too much. And talking with people was too much, being around people was too much. Even school used to be too much. I just remember always thinking like, why would I bother? Like, the cost always seemed more than the payoff, if there even was any payoff. I remember spending most of my teenage years feeling like I don't understand adults, because why would you choose to live? Like, my brain couldn't comprehend why anyone would choose to live. I couldn't find anything that's worthwhile about life. And I did survive one suicide attempt when I was 17. And for a while, things didn't get better after, which is kind of the disillusionment you go through maybe after the suicide attempt, because in my mind I felt like, well, this is the culmination of all the suffering in my life, and if this was a movie it would be like the culmination, and then things would go up and everything would get better, right? I felt like I was owed that. But what I couldn't see, what I can see now, is that nothing changes if nothing changes, and I was expecting my life to look different, but I was still the same person that chose to commit suicide. So how can life be any different if I'm still the same person, right? But in this video I want to share what helped me eventually get to this point where now I can confidently say I don't think about ending my life anymore, and I honestly don't think that I will ever try to or end my life in the future. So yeah, let's get into it. So one thing that you need to do if you struggle with this is read this book. I will link all the books that helped me in the description below. I will link maybe like 3, because I think it gets too overwhelming if it's too many, but I think this one is the most important. And honestly, that could be it. You can just read this book and you'll be good, but you need to really read it, because I read this book when I was 17 as well, but I never stuck to any of the practices. You need to really read it, because this book explains what I'm gonna summarize now. It basically explains how your brain works and how you create your reality based on your memorized emotions, and therefore your reality cannot change because you're the conscious creator of your reality. And that's the hard truth that I come to learn dealing with this, is that I learned that it's a choice to feel suicidal. Obviously there's different factors going into it, and everyone's story is different. If this doesn't resonate with you, then this is not for you. But in my case, it was a choice I made out of fear of living life. I was always so terrified of being alive, and I would hide in this place of despair, and I would imagine like the ways that I can end my life. And it was a choice. It was the choice that gave me safety. And after reading this book, I came to see that, oh my god, it is a choice. I am consciously choosing my reality every single moment, and I was used to choosing suffering and wanting to disappear. And eventually I was able to rewire my brain, if that makes any sense. Or every time that I would find myself in a situation where something would trigger me and I would start feeling like, oh my god, I wish I wasn't alive because this is too much. I would kind of be aware of the thought and I would stop myself like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not given to these thoughts anymore. And eventually, if I did it enough times, those thoughts don't pop up anymore. I stop myself when I feel that thought, and instead I choose to like, okay, is this true or is this not true? Because you can never see reality as it is. You, from your single point of view, how can you ever be correct about anything that's going on? You cannot see into people's heads. You cannot see into every single factor that's in works. From your perspective, you don't know how things are. So why would you choose this negative point of view? What if everything is better tomorrow? What if everything is actually correct the way it is now? What if all this suffering is actually leading you towards your best future? But in order for the future to happen, you have to choose that future, and yet you have to be willing to give up your reality right now. And this might seem like new age spiritual talk, and actually it might be. I feel like I do subscribe to those beliefs, but I think it's a hard pill to swallow when you realize, oh my god, I've been the one creating suffering in my life. It wasn't anything like external. It was just me and my perspective. But luckily, the perspective can be changed. And another thing that really helped me is rewriting my problems. So in the past, what would happen is I would see everything as a reason to disappear. And I think Hitomi said it in one of her videos as well. And it took me a while to really understand what she was saying. But every reason that in the past would make me want to end it all is now a reason to stay. Maybe it makes sense to you, maybe it doesn't, but the way I came to understand that is like, for example, if I have a problem being around people, and every time I am around people and I feel like shit, and I feel like I just wish I could never feel the feelings that I feel right now. Instead, I choose to view the situation like, oh my god, so this is an opportunity to work on my problems? Life is giving me so many opportunities to change and to get better and to grow as a person, and to view the thing as, oh my god, I'm a work in progress and this is how I work on my problems. Maybe some things happen to you when you were a kid, or maybe you perceive some situations incorrectly and now you have these beliefs about yourself or about the world. But every time those thoughts get triggered, that's your cue, that's your sign that you're free to work on it. This is how you get over your problems. It's actually a blessing, every single thing you have to work on. And once you rewrite this perspective, life becomes so much easier and so much less heavy, because problems are not really problems anymore. It's like a little silly quest, like, oh, well, I do feel really bad about myself sometimes when I'm around people, but look, let's try today. And well, I tried today and it didn't work, but well, let's try tomorrow. And there's infinite opportunities for me to grow and get over this problem. And guess what? There is a spot, there's a place in the future where I've worked through it and I don't feel like that anymore. But in order to get to that place, you have to be open to working through the problems. and you have to be conscious about the thoughts that want you to hide and end it all and just give up. And if they come, it's fine, because it's good to feel them, and the next day you can try again. And this is a point of view that like completely changed my life. And another thing that really helped me is I was listening to this one podcast, but I remember the host saying that the way he changes his perspective on life, it's like, oh, nothing is owed to me in life. And I heard it and it literally snapped me out of the misery I was feeling at the moment, because I was like, oh my god, nothing is owed to me in life. Because how often do we get stuck in like the stress of everyday life? For example, when I was listening to the podcast, I guess I was working on something that I really want to work on, but it was really stressful, and it was like long hours, and it was just overwhelming, and I was so stressed and in my thoughts. But when I heard that podcast, it was like, oh, nothing is owed to me. It literally snapped me out of that stress, and I realized what I'm working on right now is not owed to me. And it works with everything. Like, I used to be so stressed about university, and instead, if I realized this experience is not owed to me, it's such a blessing to even have this experience in a country that I wanted to move to, studying what I want to study, the stress becomes easier to carry, because you realize what a blessing everything in my life is. Or it works with, for example, I have people in my life that complain about like, oh, I don't have enough friends, I wish I had more friends. But the people in your life are not owed to you. Like, all the love that you have in your life is not owed to you. Why would you ever overlook all the blessings that you have in your life? And I think the suicidal thoughts and the suffering also comes from like a entitled place. Like, oh, why don't I have this? Why don't I have this? I wish I had that, and I wish I had more. But you have to be grateful for what you have in order to get more. And this is not about getting more, but why would you disregard everything that you have? Every little blessing, for example, in my life, it's the place that I live in, even though it's not ideal, but I'm so grateful for the place I live in. I used to pray for where I live now. I used to pray for the job that I have now. And yes, I do get stressed, but I'm so grateful every day for that job. So grateful for my comfortable bed. I don't know. It's just fun things that I can think of on the spot. But I'm sure you have things like that in your life as well. And it's such a nice way to reframe like your suffering, because it is hard work. If you live your life like I did, I feel like in this little ball, like a ball of despair, just like thinking of ending it all. And I'm not saying I don't feel like that anymore, but you have to change your perspective of life and of reality in order to change. And you have that in your hands. You're not a victim. Once you open yourself up to all the good in the world, the good shows itself to you. But from this despairing point of view, you can never see the good that's already around you. And of course, it also comes from not feeling good about yourself and feeling like you're maybe not worthy or not enough because of the flaws that you have. But let's question this belief with looking at someone you think that is enough and you think that is worthy of life and of everything good. That person is not perfect, they have flaws as well. So if you can see flaws in other person and recognize that they're enough anyways, why cannot you look through the same perspective in yourself and see that, okay, you have pros and cons. Every thought, every narrative that you have about yourself is just a belief that can be rewritten. And when the negative feelings arise, it's fine and you can feel them. And I know it's really hard, and once you're in the moment, it's really hard to see any other perspective, but don't force yourself to see the other perspective in that point of time. If you feel those feelings right now, just don't make any conclusions and allow them to pass. Allow yourself to be curious about them, and allow yourself to be curious about how they come to pass, because I promise you they will pass. And I'm not just pulling this out of my ass, I'm saying this from my own perspective, and because this is something I still struggle with, and I have struggled with every day. And I promise you, if you resonate with what I'm saying, or even if you don't, there is a point in the future where you don't feel like the way you feel now. And if you don't believe it, have faith in what I'm saying, because I 100% believe in it. I 100% believe that there's a point in the future when you don't feel like this. So trust me, because I love you and I see the future. I know that's how it is. So yeah, I hope you maybe got something from this video. If not, I trust that there are other resources that will help you. And I wish you guys all the best, and I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you for watching.